Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about Rush Limbaugh. He's a terrible comedian. Like his fetid ideological offspring Glenn Beck, Rush fancies himself a pretty funny guy, using wit to make his points. Satire, or illustrating absurdity by being absurd, for those of you in Rio Linda, has been a part of Rush's act since day one. Unfortunately, he's horrible at it. Judging by his mean-spirited, self-congratulatory, not very clever radio show, I'd guess Rush's primary satirical influences aren't Aristophanes, Swift, and Twain, but rather the elementary school bully of his youth who used to delight in pantsing other kids as they hung from the monkey bars and shouting faggot at them. Which may well have been Rush himself, who knows. He's wrong about pretty much everything. But don't let me sell Rush short now. A few of his recurring bits are legitimately amusing. For example, when he declares himself to be almost always right 99.7% of the time, and I believe that is the most recent number. This from an unabashed climate change denier who once criticized the intelligent design movement for not being creationist enough, who predicted that Mitt Romney would be elected President of the United States in a landslide. Almost always right, 99.7% of the time. Good one, Rush. He convinces people in his audience to vote against their own interests. The average age of listeners to right-wing talk radio, according to several polls, is somewhere in the mid to late 60s. This means that many of the people who listen to Rush Limbaugh on the radio and allow him to influence their choices as voters are people who rely on programs like Social Security and Medicare for some measure of support or security. Programs that are under constant assault from Rush, his colleagues in the conservative media, and their allies in the political arena. This is just speculation on my part, but I would bet that a large segment of Rush's audience, regardless of age, are people who aren't exactly sitting on gigantic net worths, which makes their support of a man who never seems to tire of demonizing and denigrating the poor just as baffling. But hey, if they ever decide to drop in on Rush for a visit, at least they'll have someplace to stay, since there are 5 houses on his estate. I'm not trying to say there's anything inherently wrong with owning a lot of houses. Unseemly, maybe, given that Rush made his fortune advocating policies that would be harmful to large segments of his audience. But hey, it's America, he's rich, if he can afford it, why not, right? But why do you need 5 houses when you're the only permanent resident of the estate? 5 houses! According to Rush, he lives in one, and then the other 4 are just available for his guests. But really? 5 houses? That's 1 for each ass cheek, 1 for each titty, and 1 for his big fat head. 5. If I had made each house a separate item on this list, the whole video would have just been Rush's houses. 5! He's a racist, a homophobe, and a misogynist. Yeah, I'm batching with this one, but come on, there's only 1 slot left on the list. Just in case there was anyone out there who wasn't aware of Rush's history of racial insensitivity and dog whistle politics, or of the fact that he is an avowed enemy of the gay rights movement, Rush considerately put his bigotry on full display in February and March of 2012. Now, that time it didn't happen to be racism or homophobia, but misogyny, when Rush declared Georgetown law student Sandra Fluke, who had testified in front of a congressional committee in favor of requiring that birth control be covered by health insurance, to be a prostitute and a slut. Rush showed the rest of the world what many of us have known for years, that he's an ignorant, small-minded bully who feels fully entitled to his massive privilege, who thinks that demeaning people who are different than he is good sport, and in 25 years of nationally syndicated radio has never had anything of any value to say. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.